Hey, sad boys. That's a good start. I think I should talk like this for the entire video. It might be an improvement over seeing my actual face. Now, last time on our adventures in Weird Al, we ended on TLC. Bad Hair Day was the album we left off with. And we can see from the playlist that Weird Al does have some hits. He has some bona fide killer tracks. But some of the songs, it seemed like his criticism, his comments, his parody just isn't as strong as the originals. When it comes to Rico Suave, when it comes to You Can't Touch This, there's such a novelty within the songs themselves that I don't think there's anything Weird Al could have done to plus it up. So today, we will be looking at the Running with Scissors through Straight Outta Lynwood era. I know Weird Al's intentions are never to be better than the originals, but one must take into account that these are songs to be listened to for pleasure, regardless if you've ever heard the originals. So I think they should be taken in on their own merits. And we started off with a very dense song.
Bye bye, Miss American Pie, drove my
This is 8 minutes, 37 seconds of an American tale, a long time ago. I can still remember how the music used to make me smile, and I knew if I had my chance, I could make those people dance, and maybe they'd be happy for a while. Music used to be a cause for celebration. This is the first one of the Weird Al parodies where he's covering a song from another era. It's not a contemporary pop song. This was written during the Vietnam era. Vietnam, if you don't know, was a pretty contentious time in the American climate. Probably wasn't worth it. The idea of American exceptionalism and breaking it down in various areas while not being a full-on critique of the American lifestyle. It's more so painting a picture of 1971 America. Protest music sort of became the mainstay, the message, the meaning, the moment. You own it. Once you got it, you better never let it go. We have imagery of a widowed bride. Ooh, war, it takes us all. Bye bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but that levee was dry. Promises of wealth, richfulness, resources. And them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye. Oh, that's American drink. Whiskey, rye, Kentucky, gold. This will be the day that I die. It's that sense of helplessness. No, we're supposed to be fighting for the good in the American way, but we're not really doing that. This is what we had, this is what we stood for, and now it all seems kind of bullshit. This feels like a very important song, and it feels like a necessary song for the historical documentation of the emotional resonance of 1970s America. And in that sense, I think it perfectly captures it. Vaguely moody, but then picking it up in kind of a folk, acoustic, bouncy melody. I think there's a lot more once you dig into it, but goddamn, 8 minutes, 40 seconds. How does Weird Al decide to parody this grand epic of American proportions? By making it about the most American thing ever, baby. Star Wars.
My, this here Anakin guy, maybe Vader.
So while the song he's parodying is not contemporary within itself, the subject matter is. And at 5.5 minutes, this is the shorter version of American Pie. This song is about Anakin Skywalker, the protagonist of the Phantom Menace, start of a series of movies that would go on to become the most popular franchise in the world. It wasn't until episode 4 that they really started to gain pace. Phantom Menace was a solid start with Hayden Christensen as a little tiny Annie boy driving his pod racer with his friend C-3PO trying to mac on Princess Amidala. Hey, we can all relate to that story. By infusing it with American Pie, with Star Wars, it gives it sort of a weight. this is actually a much better summary of episode 1 than watching the movie. And you get all the information you need just from this song. So really, it's kind of doing a service. And while Dawn may have made the most important song, I can't help but feel like this is more of a bopper. There's never been a time where American Pie has come on the radio or is playing over a speaker and I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. This is a jam. This is a song that I want to fucking rock to. Don't get me wrong. I like the themes. I like the importance of it. I like what it is. I will be honest with my biases. I have a stronger attachment to Weird Al. I have a stronger attachment to this album and particularly this song. There are some truly clever and funny lines in here, and it shows an understanding of the Phantom Menace. This isn't just the vague aesthetics of Star Wars, just the mainstream things that everyone knows. These are actual plot points, actual connections and references to the movie itself. Unfortunately, these are the lyrics to it, and I was trying to find a line, and I can't find it, because these aren't it. I have to give it to Weird Al in this first matchup, and I know people are gonna be like, hey, the original is a classic. The original, that's a fucking American song, and you can't delete it from the pantheon of music. You can't just erase it, replace it with Weird Al, and I say, this is my fucking playlist, and don't you tell me what to do. As you can see, the continuation of our playlist, we have a Weird Al song, The Saga Begins, as our saga has also begun.
All the girlies say I'm pretty fly for a white guy.
I have commented on Pretty Fly for a White Guy before when I went through my Offspring, the ultimate playlist where I went through every single Offspring album, the good ones anyway, and I chose the best of the best. And what I found from Pretty Fly for a White Guy is that it's kind of cringy. Who the f are you, Offspring, to be telling other people that they're dorky white guys? You guys are just as dorky. A lot of the Offspring songs is posturing on how cool they are or how lame other people are. This song is funny the first couple of times you heard it, but the concept is really weak. It's just like, hey, there's a white guy trying to act gangster. Isn't that pretty silly? Pretty dumb.
All the goyim say I'm pretty fly for a rabbi.
Okay, so in 1999, Weird Al doing a song called I'm Pretty Fly for a Rabbi while making Jewish-themed jokes is pretty harmless. I feel like this is a time period when we still enjoyed Woody Allen, when there was Jewish comedies. Jewish humor was kind of the mainstay of this neurotic, dry sense of humor. At this time period, caricatures, making fun of religions is a-okay. This is the ironic 90s, baby. We're fucking sniping everyone out here. There is nothing vindictive or vicious. I do not know what is in Weird Al's heart, but for me, I think the concept, I think the comedy, the satire, the parody works here so much better. A rabbi isn't necessarily someone you would expect to be cool. A white guy, though, could quite possibly be pretty fly. Now, historically, we all know that white guys have not been very cool, have not been very chill. And rabbi, though, that's silly. Rabbis aren't cool. Rabbis aren't fly. He retains the musical qualities, albeit not as crisp as the Offspring's production. But I think the themes here work so much better. This is trying to be funny and failing. This just is funny. Though I am very confused at this album cover. Why does it just cut off in the middle? Like, was there just this picture of Weird Al and it wasn't enough to fill the cover?
It's been 1 week since you looked at me. Cock your head to the side and said I'm angry.
Speaking of the ironic 90s, nothing encapsulates it more than the bare naked ladies, yet transcends it on every aspect. the production, the beat, the flow is just so natural. It pulls you in. You're like, wait, what are we doing now? Energy throughout it is undeniable. I love the pacing of it. I love how it goes from one to the other to the other. Feels truly like a fully fleshed out, crafted song with lyrics that are a lot funnier than I think we remember it for. The song seems to be about relationships, specifically how this person, the narrator, sees themselves in relationships. So it's been 1 week since they were sitting on the couch, I'm assuming, and she looked at him and said, I'm angry. Well, it's been 5 days since you laughed at me, so 2 days later, saying, get that together, come back to see me. 3 days since the living room. I realize it's all my fault, but I couldn't tell you. So he acknowledged that he did something wrong, but he couldn't bring himself to admit it to this person. It was yesterday, you'd forgiven me, but it'll still be 2 days till I say I'm sorry. It's that selfishness that we work ourselves into when we're in relationships. That's stubbornness that we refuse to give to another person. I think the chorus is a lot more telling than we give it credit for. It's catchy, but it's also giving you a story while having a fun, catchy rhyme scheme. I think this song is a classic. I think we're still in favor of it. He makes a reference to Kurosawa, one of the all-time greatest film directors who ever touch a camera. Gotta get in tune with Sailor Moon, because that cartoon has got the boom anime babes that makes me think the wrong thing. Oh no, they're children. They're school children in Sailor Moon.
It's been 1 week since we got to see cheating lovers and cousins that marry.
This is the opposite case of Pretty Fly for the white guy. For the white guy, a white guy, any white guy, your white guy. This song is clever, well written, has funny, ironic lines in it, and then Weird Al tries to make the joke about something else. The joke isn't commenting on the song itself, specifically a narrator who has been watching too much Jerry Springer. If you don't know who Jerry Springer is, it might have been before your time, but it was an institution in the American lifestyle. Basically just did modern day freak shows where he would bring on controversial people, cheaters, liars, people who had secrets, people who probably shouldn't be given a platform, and he would bring them on to start a ruckus. And that was TV, baby. Look at all this trash. It's like wrestling, but it's real until you realize most of it's fake. In this verse, we really get a sense of Weird Al's perspective, or at least the narrator's perspective. Once you start watching, there is no stopping. Your brain shuts down, then your IQ's dropping. Jerry's the king of confrontation. He's a sensation. He puts the sin in syndication. He is admitting that this is the type of content that he shouldn't be consuming. Very similar to how some may argue one Joseph is rotting out the minds and brains of the youth. Once we start accepting that as our form of entertainment, then we stop looking at people as humans and start seeing them as a vessel of conflict, as an identity political conflict to go against another political identity. And they clash and they fight, they bicker and they yell, and we at home go, look at these dumb people fighting and yelling. And then that's how it goes until the end of time, and then we all burn out and die. So I don't have any issues with the message that Weird Al is putting forth, but I do have an issue with some of the lyrics, some of the things that he pulls from the show. And I do admit that this is more of an issue with the show itself and not necessarily his interpretation of it. Because in 1999, the world was in a very different place, as stated previously. So there are references to things that we probably wouldn't seen about or put in a song or put on TV today. The tone has changed. It's been 1 week since we got to see cheating lovers and cousins that marry. Incest, a big thing on Jerry Springer. The last vessel of taboo. The last frontier of taboo-ness. 5 days since we had the show with the hermaphrodite, the slut, and the crack hoe. The crack hoe. I don't know what's more offensive. If it's one person, I don't think they appreciate this description of themselves. One could feel like he literally is just watching Jerry Springer and writing down the subject matter of the episodes. A lot of it is this stuff. Most of it is, I have an unruly kid and I can't get my kid to behave. I don't know if this baby's mine. Let's do a paternity test. But there was also a weird fascination with the human body, especially when it came to gender and sex. I do sort of blame Jerry Springer a little bit, just a little bit, for perpetuating the oddness of trans people's bodies. That if a person is trans, it's something to be put on TV, dissect, and look into, and like, how do you feel about this? But how do you feel about this? Do you think this is okay? 3 days since we heard the tell about the guy who learned his wife was a she-male. Very cool, very modern and contemporary term. There was one guy who I'm sure felt a little strange when he found out that his wife had a sex change. Oh, never mind how his wife feels. How does he feel about it? And yes, he is trying to be a little edgy because the subject matter of Jerry Springer is edgy, but the amount of times he does point at certain people is kind of weird in this song. It's catchy, but I think the original just has an energy to it and a cleverness to it that is so much better than what Weird Al was doing with Jerry Springer. So with that, I'm gonna choose the Bare Naked Ladies to be added to our playlist. We have 2 Running with Scissors and 1 original song.
Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Oh, there goes gravity. Choke.
I remember the production being better on this. It sounds a little weak on here. I like the piano, the boo, but you can tell they're just looping it. And then there's like background sounds that they just keep using again and again. I have never had an attachment to Eminem. Being the little punk I am, never really cared for his brand of aggressive hip hop. While I like the energy, I just don't care about him. There's just some artists you just don't listen to. I didn't see 8 Mile. I knew this song because of Mon Spaghetti and Mon Spaghetti only. It sounds genuine. This is where he grew up, 8 Mile. This is the life he lived. These are the people he knew. He is speaking towards the truth, and I will always respect that and appreciate that in the music. So in that sense, I appreciate what Mr. Eminem, Mr. Mathers is singing about. I just personally do not connect towards this style of hip-hop.
Lose your mind watching TV. They told me, but I'm still tuning every show.
It's interesting how Weird Al keeps disparaging TV. Like, that's his big fight. It's like, TV is bad for you, man. It's rotting your brain. Music videos, whatever. You obviously feel strongly enough about TV to have these opinions, to want to hit it again and again on different albums. This is probably the weakest out of those 3, however, in that TV rotting your brain has never really been effective on me. Like, I love shitty shows. I love shitty TV. MTV was the pinnacle of trash. Date My Mom, Nets, Room Raiders, it was the worst trash you could ever fucking watch. For some reason, it's enjoyable and it's harmless. Like, you watch it, and then 10 years later, you don't fucking think about it again. Is that good for you? Is that bad for the American spirit? Is that bringing us down as a country? I think TV is good, and whatever you watch is fine. I don't give a shit. And what he's doing with his voice here, where it's like mimicking Eminem, but it's also kind of mocking him by giving his voice almost like annoying qualities to it. It feels like it's mocking a very genuine attempt of an artist trying to represent the hardships and situations that they grew up in. So in that sense, I think Weird Al is kind of maybe missing it. And I'm gonna go with the Eminem song. Even though I don't have an attachment to Eminem, I can still tell and fully admit when it is just the downright better song with the better track. The production is kind of losing itself on Poodle Hat. Hopefully the other songs bring it back.
It's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes.
Nellyville. The album is called Nellyville. and he's looking serious. It's like drawn on, like it's scratched into a notebook, and it's called Nellyville. On the complete opposite spectrum from Eminem, who is singing something genuine about his home, about his place of birth, Nelly seems to have one goal and one goal only, and that is to get you to take off all your clothes right now in this very club, ma'am. So take it off like you're home alone. Dance in front of the mirror while you're on the phone, checking your reflection and telling your best friend, girl, I think my butt's getting big. Is this sexist? Is this sort of against women? Do men take their clothes off too? It's a woman in the chorus that sings, I'm getting so hot, I want to take my clothes off. His music gets women so horny that they can't help but strip naked while they're listening to it. Flirtatious, trying to show patience. I'm waiting for the right time to shoot my steez. You know. I don't know. What's a steez? A person's distinctive and attractive or impressive style of dress or way of doing things. It is always good to expand your vocabulary. Waiting for the right time to flash them keys. You know, just like, hey, well, guess you didn't expect these, baby, in front of her like she's a fucking cat. I'm leaving. Please believe in, oh, me and the rest of the heathens. Check it. I got it locked at the top of the faux season. Not the four seasons, the faux season. So the fake seasons, like the one that Rudy Giuliani went to. Penthouse, rooftop, birds I'm feeding, no deceiving, nothing up my sleeve. Nothing up my sleeve. Oh, like nothing up my sleeve. I don't know, we're at a penthouse, we're feeding birds? Is he talking about women? Get up on the dance floor, give that man what he's asking for, because I feel like busting loose, and I feel like touching you, and can't nobody stop the juice? So baby, tell me what's the use. Nelly is letting you know that he's gonna dance with you regardless if you want it or not. Give that man what he's asking for. Come on, he needs you. Just give him what he's asking for. He feels like busting loose, and he feels like touching you. Feels like he's pressuring a little bit. He's like, I have a penthouse, I have car keys. Why wouldn't you take your clothes off, ma'am? So in that sense, I feel like this song is a little outdated. Hopefully Weird Al can make it a little more tolerable.
There's something rotten here. Say what? You better hold your nose.
This is kind of a disgusting song, and Weird Al fully embraced the grossness by making it about trash. Even though the garbage I knew would reek, thought that I could leave it for one more week. Then I'm taking birthday cake and chili and greasy old bacon, throwing it all on top the mess I've been making. Wife's so mad, she started to shaking. His performance is a lot better than what he was doing in Couch Potato. I think it properly expresses the disgustingness of Nelly's version while giving you something kind of funny. It is relatable. We all have trash. Someone went, P.U., your trash is stinky. You should probably take it outside, you freak. I just intellectually, emotionally, and morally object to everything Nelly is saying here. Even though it's a good little jam, it's a good little bopper in the club, I feel like it's probably not in rotation as much as it was back in 2002. I think Weird Al's version is the superior version. Let's add it to the playlist. Hopefully, things don't get too complicated from this point. Oh my god, I just went over this entire album. I have not let go of Avril Lavigne. And I was saying that this song was difficult to take seriously because of the Weird Al parody that we're about to listen to. But I can admit that it is a solidly written pop songs with hooks that do sink their claws deep into your brain and keeps you humming it long after you have heard the song. There's just a way that hits that I can't deny is pleasurable. It enters my ear holes and I go, all right, I guess you're not that bad, Avril. But the way it's produced is really pleasurable. That guitar is bouncy, the drums, the bass, it feels real, What I appreciate is that pop songs used to be made with actual instruments back in the day. There used to be a guitar and a drummer and like a whole band. Be a present participant in the relationship, but the person you're with seems to change on a dime, seems to turn their personalities and become someone else, making things more complicated than they should be. We need to communicate in a relationship, but for some reason, you keep turning your head, trying to derail the conversation into a fight or something else. Acting like you're someone else gets me frustrated. And that was kind of the theme of almost every song on Let Go. It does hit a little better when you're looking at it in isolation. I don't know. I think I might be open to having Complicated on the playlist, depending on if Weird Al makes me giggle.
Why'd you have to go and make me so constipated? 'Cause right now
There's a lot more going on in this song than I remember. Of course, I remember the constipated part. The first one is about a pizza party at your house. You went just to check it out. There was 19 extra large pizzas and no one came. The narrator takes home these 19 pizzas and all day and all night they're just eating pizza. But unfortunately, that combination of processed food has made them a little backed up. They're not as regular as they used to be. Second verse, he meets up with a woman. This woman and him, he wants to pop the question. He wants to marry her. Apparently, he's never seen her naked before because this night is the first night he's noticing a tattoo right on her thigh, which is the family crest that is his. He didn't know they were related. Should I go ahead and propose and get hitched and have kids with 11 toes and move to Alabama where that kind of thing is tolerated? Alabama, go f yourself. Weird Al can be so specific, can tell he just dissects something that he views, that he interpretates, and he breaks it down with an understanding of what it is. On the surface, he kind of makes easy jokes sometimes. Poopy humor is kind of like the lowest form of humor you can possibly make. So to unwind from being backed up, from almost marrying his cousin, he decided to go on a roller coaster ride. He stood up and his head got knocked off. He got decapitated. I can't breathe, I can't snort, I can't belch or yodel anymore. Haven't been the same since my head and I were separated. I think the ridiculousness that we reach by the end is funny and a lot what the song needed. I just think the first verse about being constipated and pizza actually does it a disservice. I think the parody is a lot stronger in every verse but that front one. My favorite part about the Weird Al version is the beginning when he says, extra cheese. Is hilarious considering going, life's like this is the dumbest, lamest way she could have started this song. There is a quality to Avril Lavigne that is pleasurable. There are moments that she has hit pop perfection where it's catchy, but not obnoxious. It's pandering, but not stupid. So Complicated may perhaps be the best thing that Avril Lavigne has to offer. Hey Avril, congratulations. You made it onto a playlist that I have made. Good job.
I want it that way.
Wow, this sure brings me back to the skating rinks. As you go around in a circle, you skate really fast past the girl you like. Maybe you do a cool 360 flip and you skate backwards and you're like, when was this album? 2003? So Weird Al is hitting the Backstreet Boys 4 years after their height. He's going back. He finally has found an idea that is so genius, he must parody it. Which I feel like I Want It That Way was already sort of a joke by this point, or the Backstreet Boys as a whole has gotten a lot of shit. I mean, look at them. They can't even agree which way to look. He's like, oh, I'm gonna be cool, I'm gonna look down. But this guy's like, fuck no, bro, I'm already looking down. I want it that way. I want fire, the one desire, but we are two worlds apart. I can't reach your heart when you say that I want it that way. What way? What way does she want it? Like friends? I want to be friends. I want it that way. I'm assuming, or like we need to break up. Ain't nothing but a heartache. Ain't nothing but a mistake. It's kind of obfuscated by how general it is. Should I feel bad that one or all of them are being broken up by this girl? I don't think so.
I bought on eBay my house.
Finally, the technology of eBay gave him the inspiration to parody one of the greatest pop songs in history. I bought it on eBay. eBay, I remember skipping off of this album because I don't care for the Backstreet Boys one. It retains the same slow, plodding melody of that one. But I find the eBay one kind of charming. It's similar to the things on TV, all the shit on TV that I'm wasting my time with, but instead he's wasting his time on eBay, buying things like pet rocks, buying things like William Shatner's toupee. eBay, there's weird stuff on it. Have you heard? Very funny commentary, very smart, very clever Al. If I have to listen to the musical track, the musical backing of I Want It That Way, might as well have some clever lines in it. I believe that brings us to a closing of the Poodle Hat era, and now it's time for the straight outta Lynwood era. So let's I guess Weird Al has ran out of songs that he enjoyed, and now he's covering just any shit that's popular. Right in a hip-hop song from the mid-2000s, what we consider the ringtone era of hip-hop, with very simplistic hooks and very similar production to that Atlanta Southern dirty style of producing hip-hop. Gives it like just enough electronic sounds while retaining the hip-hop beat to kind of modernize it and make it an earworm. I'm a little surprised to see that Chamillionaire actually has a good flow going into the verse. Once you get past the very annoying and simplistic chorus, something that I think hip-hop songs have improved on immensely, I think the verse itself is pretty solid. Riding, Trying to Catch Me Riding Dirty is about Chamillionaire's encounters with the police. Riding dirty means riding with something illegal. Typically drugs, maybe guns, maybe harbinging a person that has a warrant out for their arrest. You're riding with something that you're not really supposed to, and the police are trying to catch you. They think they can see me lean. I'm 10, so it ain't easy to be seen. There was a real study that showed police from day to night seem to pull black people over a little disproportionately, where during the night, when visibility is a little different, when you can't really see the person in the car, it seemed that black people and white people got pulled over at similar rates. Something very real in our world that we live with every day, and I think Chamillionaire is touching on it just a little, while introducing that brag culture that is so intertwined with hip-hop. When you see me ride by, they can see the gleam and my shine on my deck and the TV screen. Ride with a new chick, she's like, hold up, next to the PlayStation controller is a full clip and a pistol. So he has a TV screen in his car with the PlayStation hooked up right next to his pistola. So you know he means business. Don't you try taking his PlayStation. That's sort of like the premium of what we thought luxury was, having a PlayStation hooked up into your car so you can play it on the go. And while this is going on, he's trying to live his life, and the police, they just keep trying to catch him on something. And I can understand that feeling like you just can't live your life. Like you can't just fucking cruise with a girl and rock your PlayStation anymore.
You're just too white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. Can't you see I'm white and nerdy?
I think it was a good call to make this song under 3 minutes. Keep it tight. You don't want the joke to be too played out. The joke here being he's taking this kind of hard rap song about doing illegal shit, making it fun and dorky, saying like, hey, I can rap tough, but I'm not tough. The two divides, a great clash of the American culture wars, hip-hop gangster aesthetic versus the white nerdy dorks of the world. May they forever be in conflict. And the verse is just him kind of listing off white things, I suppose. First class at MIT. I'm the champion at D&D. Keep your 40, I'll have Earl Grey tea. See, it's kind of weird that he's making all these things seem like white things. I feel like black people can play D&D. They can wear braces. They can put mayo on their sandwiches. That could be anyone. That could be everyone. You're talking about this very specific person, and the line that does work for me is, you see me roll on my Segway. I know in my heart they think I'm white and nerdy. That is the ultimate nerd symbol, a Segway. It's like a scooter, but instead of being like this, it's like this. Inspecting my X-Men comics, buddy. X-Men is an allegory for racial issues. I'm sure there are plenty of young black kids that read X-Men and felt very connected to the allegory that was represented in it. If you're gonna stereotype any qualities of any person, it's gonna feel vague and like non-specific to an actual person. I like the concept that Weird Al is playing with, and I think he proficiently emulates the stylings, the flow that Chamillionaire had, but for some reason, I think the Chamillionaire song is a lot more genuine and fun. It's not too braggalicious to be obnoxious, and the hook isn't so annoying that I want to rip my eyes out like so many songs from this era. And for that, it deserves a spot on our playlist. I won't dwell on it too long. Let's get to the next one. Oh, now this is from my neck of the woods, my crew. When I was 11 years old, American Idiot was the biggest thing to ever happen to music. Still works for the most part. That guitar hook is incredibly infectious. This verse, to me, may be a little in poor taste, but I think what Billy Joe is trying to say is that there's a dichotomy in America of us versus them. It seems that the political powers try to keep the American public ignorant and focused on this us versus them, perpetuated in the talking sphere, in the commentary, in order to keep Americans from really looking into anything deeper, what the subliminal mindfuck America is trying to tell us across the alienation. They're trying to alienate us from one another to create these little pockets of tension so you vote out of fear. Think what Billy Joe is trying to say, since I'm not trying to fit into these strict roles of masculinity or what an image of an American is, then I guess I am the f***ing America. I think he's making a strong statement for a strong point. I don't know. I think Green Day's alright. I think Green Day's okay sometimes.
Don't wanna be a Canadian idiot.
Instead of turning it on ourselves, he's instead looking up to the great north. I give him so much props for just rhyming Saskatchewan with Celine Dion. I think that is a winning rhyme. If American Idiot was a reflection on the growing disdain and disparity between the two perceived halves of America, then Canadian Idiot is poking fun at Americans' irrationality of Canada. Canada, a giant country that looms over our country, that just sits there. I can literally cross that border in 2 hours and be in another country, and yet we treat them like it's a completely foreign land. There are huge metropolitan cities in Canada. There's Toronto, there's Vancouver. People of all kinds of life. They deal with poverty, they deal with hunger, they deal with work, they deal with everything Americans deal with, but for some reason we treat them like they are as far away as New Zealand. And then we're now sort of just going down the list of these perceived ideas. They all live on donuts and moose meat. They leave the house without packing heat, never bring their guns to the mall, and you know what else is funny? Their stupid Monopoly money. Can't take them seriously at all. There seems to be a little bit of social commentary coming from Al here. They never bring their guns to the mall, and you know what's funny? Their stupid Monopoly money pivots so hard so you can't even digest the commentary that he is bringing. Like national health care, cheaper meds, low crime rates, clean air, but then again, they got Celine Dion, so haha, Nickelback, Avril Lavigne, Suck It, Canada, Ryan Reynolds, go yourself. It's funny how we focus on the aesthetics of the country without ever really getting to know the people. Sort of similar to how the media wants you to focus on the aesthetics of your neighbors. The right, conservatives, liberals, Democrats, Republicans. You're either 100% with this or 100% against this, and whatever you are, I am, then we blah. Weird Al is actually being more subtle in a way. He's commenting on America through the ignorant perspective of Canada. That is what a good parody should be. You capture the emotion and the feeling of the original while adding a little extra layer to it. The underlying core message of the song retains what I believe Green Day was trying to do with theirs. Even though the guitar work, the production on American Idiot is so much better than anything in this song, I think Weird Al is actually doing good work in it. Which I believe brings us to our last song. Will Weird Al take this last slot, or will the original playlist have the last word?
These are my confessions. Just when I thought I said all I can say, my chick on the side.
It's gonna be a tough one to beat because it is one of the all-time classic R&B goddamn pop bangers. Usher, not done with his confessions. The chick he was seeing in part 1, the girl that he told you about, his confession of another relationship, of another connection with a human being, she'd be pregnant. Usher, now he has to tell the woman he loves the hardest thing he's ever had to do. It's not gonna come easy. He's asking himself, how am I gonna tell you? The first thing that came to my mind was you. Second thing was, how do I know if it's mine? And if it's true. Third thing was me wishing I never did what I did. How I ain't ready for no kid and bye-bye to my relationship. These are my confessions. This entire album is a goddamn banger. I think Let It Burn is on it too. It's gonna be really hard for Weird Al to just top what is such a smooth fucking banger, and Usher's voice. Oh, Usher's voice in it is so good. Weirdy, what you gonna bring?
When I thought I said all I could say, I came up with more secrets to tell you today.
So Weird Al has basically just took the concept and expanded it. So there is kind of a meta joke. Usher's confessions just keep kind of piling on. Against his will, he didn't want this. He already apologized. He already expressed his sins. And then Weird Al comes in and is like, oh, well, there's more. First, I told you about that skank I was cheating with. A little judgy. I don't remember Usher ever passing judgment on the woman. He just doesn't want to have her kid. He doesn't say she's a skank. He doesn't push off the blame onto someone else. So it's a little weird that Weird Al paints it in a way where he's making Usher a outright dick. So it's just a little weird. That line hits weird. I don't know. He knew Pauly Shore, but it turns out he didn't, and he doesn't know why he said that. He borrowed your chapstick. He tried your nose trimmer. Your diamond ring is cubic zirconium. I killed your goldfish accidentally, then replace it with another one. Just little silly things that he's done. When I'm kissing you, I fantasize you as a midget. I don't know why he thinks little people are so funny and why he thinks calling them that is just the peak of comedy, but it has showed up too many times throughout his songs for me to feel comfortable with it. Also, another weird gender thing when he says, sometimes in private, I like to dress up like Shirley Temple and spank myself with a hockey stick. I get it's just random and that's a joke. It's like, oh, it's so random. So you dress up like Shirley temple when you're alone. How's that a confession? Why do you need to confess that to her? I like that Weird Al attempted to try this on. He attempted to take it to ridiculous levels. But the situation here is so comedic within itself and the way that Usher's handling it that I feel like you're losing something. Like you're almost losing the joke that Usher is putting in his own music. Usually a strong R&B song is all about those singular women, how much I love you, how much I need you, how much you're the one for me. But here he's passionately singing about his fuck up, another person that he had fallen for. I think Weird Al does a really good mimicking Usher. I think he captures the falsetto well. This is just like one of the all-time greatest R&B songs and probably one of my favorite songs ever written. It's Usher at his prime. No auto-tune, no distortion, nothing over him, just him passionately singing. And with that, we have come to the end of our Confessions Part 2 with 5 Weird Al songs and 5 songs from the original. If you remember our first group of 10 songs, we had 4 Weird Al songs and 6 original songs, bringing the total to 9 Weird Al songs and 11 original songs on our playlist. So while Weird Al is putting in a good effort, elevating the songs at times, one cannot help but feel that they are cheaper imitations of the original. I don't know if I would give some of these songs a chance if Weird Al didn't introduce them musically to me in the beginning. What are we learning through this experience? That making a parody is hard. There's different ways to approach it. I think it's difficult to be silly, fun, and light while also trying to make a commentary on the music you're doing while also trying to find your own identity. I think he does a lot better job with his polka compilations. They perfectly kind of capture the musical atmosphere. But when it comes to his one-to-one parodies, I find these are the strongest. I know Weird Al's purpose isn't to be better or to replace the originals. That is literally just the theme of this video. This is my playlist thus far. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What songs would you have chosen instead? Would you change my picks? What artists would you like to see go head-to-head, song to song for an ultimate playlist? Please tell me below. I'm GreysonTodd. Thank you for watching. Listen to some good shit. I'll catch you on the flip side. Stay sweaty, stay posy, have a good one. And I'll catch you on the flip side. I already said that. That's stupid. Fucking Jesus Christ.